He's never fought us. Not us united.
Die. Oh! I can so see that. That's it. Hello there. Welcome to Comics League. I'm Jared, and today our topic is I'm going to give you guys a SnyderVerse reading list. Now, what this means is these are so there are two things I know very well: SnyderVerse and DC Comics. So what I thought that I would do is to give you guys a reading list of comic books that I think basically summarize all the points that Snyder made in his movies and like maybe where he drew inspiration, what I saw from like his work, whether or not that's Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League, to a certain degree, Wonder Woman. I count that because that's in his universe. That's like a movie inspired by his version of Wonder Woman. Like, so the characters that I have are the characters that I had books for. Like, I don't have Cyborg, unfortunately, and I don't have Green Lantern in here because we didn't know enough about his Green Lantern to really get what his take would be. My guess would be Jeff Johns. But anyway, going back, I'm going to start with Superman. The obvious answer, Man of Steel by John Byrne, because this perfectly captures, for one thing, the Kryptonian heritage. This covers him growing up, being unsure about how to use his powers, his father telling him, be very careful when you use your powers and such. And this also brings up the idea, the scene in BVS that gets like a lot of heat, by the way, where he leaves Metropolis, goes to that little mountain and has a conversation with John Kent. Okay, so that's basically in this book. The conversation with his father is not, but what is in there, he goes to like a snowy mountaintop to sort of think through his role as Superman and how he's gonna fit in with the world. So that's where I think, if you want to understand, for the most part, Zack Snyder's Superman, it's John Byrne, because this was the origin for post-crisis Superman. So that's Superman. Let's talk about the Flash. Flashpoint, really. And this is the obvious answer because the movie that's coming out is Flashpoint. But this basically summarizes a lot of Barry Allen, because he does what he does because his mother was killed. So he goes back in time, stops his mother from being killed, creates a very, very, very nightmarish, speaking of nightmare timelines where Aquaman and Wonder Woman are going to war against each other and such. So it's pretty much that. I would say Flashpoint is a good, like, window into Zack Snyder's Flash. And again, we didn't know enough about Flash to really get which run he's going for. If you want an honorable mention, probably Francis Manapul's run from the New 52 would be the best bet. Next, we have Batman. The obvious answer, The Dark Knight Returns, where you have an aging Batman that comes out of retirement, or in this case, in the case of BVS, was already back, and basically fights Superman and essentially executes a more brutal form of justice. So that's pretty much where this is, obviously, because Zack himself has said, yeah, the Dark Knight Returns was like his inspiration for Batman. Now for Wonder Woman, this is where I think a lot of the concepts for the Wonder Woman movie came from. Blood, which is the first volume from the New 52. And this is essentially where we discover her new origin in the New 52. Like, Wonder Woman is a demigod, the daughter of Zeus, and this ties her into the Greek pantheon a lot better than just having her be like, oh, the champion. No, they're actually like half brothers and sisters to her. So I think that works really well. Next up is Aquaman, the Jeff Johns Aquaman run. Yes, this is the omnibus. I picked this because this is basically like the whole arc. The whole omnibus is pretty much the plot for the first Aquaman movie, which I count as in the Snyderverse because it's very much inspired by, I mean, it links to Zack Snyder's Justice League pretty well. There are some issues, but those are not like enough to like really shoot it down. Now, the Justice League. So there are many different runs that I think Zack picked or went through when formulating the story, or like they reference with him, Lee, and Johns. But I think the most obvious answer is the new 52 Jeff Johns Justice League run. Yes, this is the omnibus. I have part 2 over there, but this is volume 1. Because what this is the first invasion by Darkseid and the whole formulation of the Justice League. The difference here is that, remember, there wasn't a 7th member of the League. I know the marketing was Unite the Seven, but in here, Green Lantern was a founding member of the League in this book. And in the other one, no, in the movie, it wasn't. It was pretty much this lineup for the Justice League, except for Green Lantern. And this is also the first time that Cyborg got to be on the Justice League, which I liked it. I think it was a good evolution for his character. So that's my SnyderVerse reading list. If you guys have any ideas on what books that you think are good inspirations for the SnyderVerse, let me know. Drop a comment, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and everything. In terms of what's next for content, in terms of movie night, we're going to change it a little bit. Instead of covering, we're going to put our coverage of the DeCamu on hold, and we're going to cover the Matrix movies. So what Nick and I formulated, it's called March Matrix Madness, or one of those two. And we're going to cover the 3 Matrix movies. And then what we're going to do is, for the last week, you guys get to choose, do we cover Matrix 4 Resurrections or Animatrix? Animatrix is like an animated prequel series that basically expands the world. The Matrix 4 is the 4th movie. Now, what's interesting about the Matrix 4 is that Nick hates it. So if you want to see him going on massive rants, it'll be really, really fun. Either way, and the results of the poll, which is, by the way, on my community tab on YouTube, the results of the poll will be what we go with. So if you want Animatrix, vote Animatrix. If you want Matrix 4 to hear Nick's rants, go to Matrix 4. So that's pretty much what I got. Oh, by the way, so we have lots of collabs coming out. We have, this week is going to be a lot of content. We have Max MVP is coming on the show Wednesday. We have Wes from Thinking Critical is coming Thursday. And we have like a lot of different content that's going to really, that's going to expand on what we're doing here. Should be really fun. And in terms of the comic book, it's progressing really well. I'm meeting this week with Dawson to talk about character designs. On that note, hope you guys enjoyed this little list. And again, if you guys have any SnyderVerse reading lists, or like any books that you think inspired Zack Snyder, or just books to understand the context around Snyder's creative decisions, drop them in the comments and I'll highlight them. Anyway, stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.